Oh my god! Double figures! Episode 10 of Smooth Traffic with Benny Pierce.
Hello.
And Bobby King.
Hello!
I've sort of done the intro in a bit of a jingly style there, haven't I? I guess we're just going to roll with it.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? Well, coming up on this episode of Smooth Traffic, we've been playing on an Xbox. We're going to be discussing Forza 6, sharing our views on the smash hit video game. We're also going to discuss the sexy new Alpine concept sports car, another car for our special 5-car garage, and lots more car-based drivel. Right, well, I'm really excited about a new reveal that's happened this week. It's the Alpine Vision concept. It's the revival of the Alpine brand, now under Renault's guidance. Alpine, a very famous name from back in the day, should we say, the 60s, 70s, 80s. Even produced cars up into the 90s, but not quite as exciting. They've revealed the latest concept, which previews next year's new sports car that they're going to bring out. And, well, it's stunning. It looks absolutely fantastic. It's kind of going to be a rival for the Porsche Cayman, I think the thinking is. Maybe the Audi TT. But the headline of it is it's really small and really, really light. So it's only 1,100 kilos, apparently. Which is exceptionally light for a modern car. And if you've ever seen the older Alpines, I'm not sure if any of you chaps have seen the older Alpines at the motor show, but they're absolutely tiny. Like, you could walk into a room and, well, where's the Alpine? And it's behind the guy, because they're that small. They're like ridiculously tiny. And side by side, the older car has been displayed with the concept in some of the press shots for it, and they look a similar size, which is actually quite exciting because everything is so big nowadays. Every car's getting much bigger and wider. You know, it's hard to park sometimes, so it's nice to see a smaller car coming out. The Alpine brand itself is sort of under a revival. Renault is going to bring out multiple models for that brand. So can any of you chaps guess what the other next model is going to be for Alpine? I'll give you a clue. Every car manufacturer needs one.
SUV.
It's going to be an SUV, yes. Alpine is going to launch an SUV as well, probably in 2018 to go alongside this sexy new sports car.
What do you think of the interior for the Alpine? I think it looks really smart. It's very different.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. Gorgeous.
It's quirky, isn't it? I've not seen anything like that before, I don't think so.
Yeah, it looks really basic and really simple. And, you know, I think more...
But sort of futuristic at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not quite sure how they've done it.
Modern.
It looks
I like the lighting that they've got inside there, and I'm quite excited because it looks very, very basic and sort of for the driver. And a lot of modern interiors are not really like that. They're quite overcomplicated with touchscreens and all that bollocks. So I'm quite glad it's a bit more basic.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing that when it's released.
So if you're a regular listener of Smooth Traffic, you'll know that we're currently putting together a 5-car garage with a twist. The next car on the list is a car for a 5-a-side football team. So essentially, you're the captain, you've got your mates in, and it needs to be a car that obviously is big enough to fit the whole team in, also all of the kit, but most importantly, because it's, you know, a bit of a blokey lads thing, it's got to be something with a bit of style as well.
Yeah.
So, who wants to go first?
Ben wants to go first.
Why do I have to go first?
Ben is Mr. Sensible, so he's picked a sensible car.
I've gone far from sensible.
Really?
Just because you always irritate me with daft suggestions, Johnny, I'm going straight in with a daft one.
Excellent.
My car of choice is the Dodge Ram pickup.
Yeah! I love that.
So, a few seats in the... I think there's 4 or 5 seats inside, and then there's a whopping great boot in the back, so if you have got more than 5 people, they can all sit in the back. Plenty of room for all their stuff. You can get it filthy in the boot and nobody would care. They're pretty meaty. The Sport, I think, is pretty nippy. They've got sort of... I think you can either have a V6 or a V8 engine. They do a pretty impressive... He says 20-odd mile per gallon, so...
Nice.
They are absolutely gigantic as well.
Yeah, like 20-inch wheels as well. It's they're massive beasts.
Yeah,
so there we go. That's my sensible choice for you, Johnny.
I'm a big fan of that, Ben. That's a great suggestion.
So Ben's an early front runner then, you'd say, John?
He would be, had I not picked a better one.
Impossible.
Well,
okay. Do you want to enlighten us, or shall I...
Well, I believe that the car you should take your 5-a-side football team to the football in should be intimidating. just like the team you play for. It should be aggressive. It should be in your face. It should send a message to the opposition. And that's why I've picked a vehicle manufactured by Paramount Group. It's called the Marauder. It's an armoured, mine-protected vehicle produced in South Africa, and it seats 2 crew and 8 passengers, powered by a fantastically torquey diesel engine, producing 300 horsepower, but it's available as either a 4x4 or a 6x6. It weighs just under 10 tonnes, and well, it can drive through walls, take explosions. It's completely bulletproof.
Is it strictly road legal?
Yes, it is road legal. And because we don't have a budget on the Smooth Traffic 5-car garage, it means I can pick it, which is brilliant.
So how much would it sell for?
Well, I haven't looked yet, but I assume you'd have to talk to somebody from Saudi Arabia or from Abu Dhabi to buy one, because it's kind of a Middle Eastern vehicle. It's made in South Africa, but I think a lot of Middle Eastern defence corporations and armies have bought them. There's not even been 250 built yet, I don't think. It's been around since about 2008, and I think only 250 have been built. But it's just awesome. It's just awesome. Imagine turning up to a football tournament in a Marauder, driving over a couple of guys' Ford Fiestas, slamming through the goal mouth, slamming through the changing rooms, parking, getting out, throwing some smoke grenades down, and go, right then, lads, we're here for a game. You up for it? Yeah, imagine that. That's what I'm going for here. And Marauder is also my footballing style as well. I was a Marauder, so it's absolutely perfect for me. There's no way that Kingy has come up with a better vehicle than that. That is the best suggestion ever on Smooth Traffic.
I worry that if we choose that car, how you'd park it in the garage. You might just go straight through the side.
Straight through it, yeah. Yep. So, Kingy, your turn.
I mean, I'm inclined to say that although the Marauder is a fantastic shout, John, as you've already got the Mercedes 6x6 in the garage, I don't know. It might
a bit samey.
Yeah, it's a bit samey. You're a one-trick pony, John. You're a one-trick pony.
I was in football as well.
That's true. That's very true.
But I mean, the problem with the Mercedes, G Series 6x6 is that it doesn't seat enough of a football team. But this has 8 spaces in it, as well as the 2 crew. So I can nearly fit a full football team in there. In fact, if I've got a guy on the roof, strapped to the roof, I have got a full football team I can drive around in this. I wouldn't even have to play in the 5-a-side league. I could have my own 11-a-side team. Or a very, very resourceful 5-a-side team with plenty of subs on the bench.
Very true.
Go on then, Rob. What have you picked?
Well, I mean, I haven't gone quite as outlandish as that. I'm going to play the Ben roll today.
Oh, Christ.
I'm going to go nice and simple. Initially, I thought, 5-a-side, 6-a-side, maybe even 7-a-side. You need something with a lot of seats. So I was thinking, maybe Volvo XC90. It's got a bit of something about it. If you pick up the lads, they think, oh, he knows what he's doing. He's bought a Volvo.
Yeah, the over 55s 5-a-side team would love the Volvo.
Precisely.
XC90.
However, then I thought, obviously, if you have got say you've got a 6-a-side team, you don't need those additional seats because there's always going to be that one player who feels that they have to turn up on their own in their Audi TT while the captain picks up all the other players and takes them to the football. So, I don't know who that player would be necessarily, John Edge. But, yeah, so you wouldn't need all the seats. So I've gone with the saloon option, and I've gone with the style. Alpha 159.
Oh, no, Kingy. No.
Yes. You pick up the lads, they're all in perfect comfort, kind of, in the Alpha. Leather seats, nice comfortable ride, lots of space in the boot.
But you'd never make it to a game because you'd break down first.
Apparently that's only if you get the sport wagon, the estate model. It wasn't well suited for that, apparently. But yeah, no, stunning good looks. The lads will get in, they'll go, oh yeah, this guy's got some taste. Obviously you get the 3.2 litre V6 model.
Oh yeah, you have to.
How would it cope with the muddy ground that you pull into the field and?
Yeah,
so you get
that
stuck.
is a problem, King.
Oh no, we park out on the road.
And walk the 3 miles to the changing rooms.
Yes, that's training.
Warming up
That's
first.
training, John, because like that fictional player who drove his Audi TT by himself, also none of the players would have done any training before a game.
That does happen.
So 3 mile walk,
Yeah.
good warm up.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that I've won this one, so should we just move on?
Yes.
No, it's not obvious. No, there's no way you've won this one, Ben. There's absolutely no way. The Marauder is
John,
the,
you
is
can't
the
have
best
the
car I've
Marauder.
ever suggested.
It's far too similar
Yes,
to the
I
other
can.
car you picked. You should have thought about that.
If you'd selected it for the Wix car, it would be in the garage right now. But you didn't.
No, it wouldn't be good for the Wix car because it doesn't have enough load space. This is an armoured personnel carrier, King. It's carrying incredibly talented, gifted footballers, because it would be if it was my team.
And
in
you.
absolute safety.
Come back to us when we have a car to go to war in, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Next week on Smooth Traffic.
That's what the five-a-side league is like. You know, it's a tribal battle. So, and there's no way you've beaten me on this one. The
As we
Marauder-
clearly can't agree, because John's a pig-headed, stubborn former Audi TT driver, I think we should put this to a vote to the Twitter followers of Smooth Traffic.
Very well.
So we'll get a poll up. The three of us will not vote, and we'll leave it open to the public.
Can I also request that we actually ask some football teams on Twitter, and possibly some other football-related people?
Ask whoever you like, Johnny.
Excellent. I'll get some verdicts in then. I can't wait to have another one of my cars in the Smooth Traffic garage.
So I'm always into my technology and finding things parking themselves like Teslas. Have you seen the Nissan video recently where they've developed self-parking chairs to help tidy up the office?
I have.
What did you make of that?
It's amazing. It's
Is that
ingenious.
tech gone too far? Or is that brilliant? Oh, I can't work it out.
Well, they're using the tech from their self-parking cars, aren't they? So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just genius. You clap your hands and all the chairs put themselves away. Why wouldn't you want that?
That's amazing. I'm watching it right now.
I'd quite like to be on one when it parks.
Yeah, me too.
You just walk over to the other side of the room with your chair, pour yourself a coffee, and then clap, and you get taken back to your desk.
Oh, that's the best thing ever. I really want one. Does it say how much it is?
I think it's probably more of a concept than
Oh,
anything
that's
else.
Yeah,
not
apparently
fair.
they're not selling it.
Nissan, if you are listening, please make us a chair.
Nissan, I'll pay you £25 for that chair.
Wow, big budget Johnny Edge.
30 if you use a smooth traffic colour scheme for the upholstery.
Oh, yeah, with the logo on it as well. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Naturally, we'll post a link on Twitter for this video so you can all see it for yourself. Let us know what you think.
Oh, by the way, Nissan, if you'd like to sponsor this podcast, please tweet us at Smooth Traffic. Right then, so this weekend just gone, I should say, we popped up to see Benny Pierce, the third member of the Smooth Traffic. Some say the best. I disagree. And we played some Forza 6 on Xbox One because we've heard only good things about it. Ben's obviously picked himself up a copy, and well, we had quite the time with it, didn't we?
I think it's really good, to be fair. There's other racing games I've played, never really grabbed my attention, but something about Forza, it's just, I don't know, the graphics or the gameplay. You really feel like you're controlling the vehicle, whereas other games you kind of feel like, you know, it's just skipping around a track, but this you really feel like the environment is, you know, playing against you and everything else. So yeah, I think it's brilliant, really good.
You said something I really liked at the time, Ben, which is that it doesn't feel like a game where the car isn't going anywhere, the scenery's just turning around it. It actually feels like the car is there and you are driving it, and it's not the engine working around the model of the car, which I thought was a really well made point, actually.
Yes, it is smart. I think it's good. I mean, you guys have played many racing games, but mostly on the PlayStation, so how did it feel to stand on the dark side and play on the Xbox for a change?
I mean, graphically it was absolutely stunning. You know, you can see where all of this next gen stuff is really going. But yeah, I mean, stunning to look at. Still not going to be running out to buy a new console. My PS3 is quite happily getting me through the
dark lonely
winter
nights.
Obviously, gameplay was superb. You know, switch off all of the driver aids and just such a I wouldn't necessarily say it was a steep learning curve, but I don't know if that's just because, I mean, you'd probably agree, John, that because we've got a bit of experience playing racing games, it wasn't as difficult to pick up and play.
Yeah.
Without the aids on.
There are lots of levels of driving skill as well, I think, that you can change. So the driver tiles that you play against, there are quite a lot of levels to play against, so that's good.
It's a really good point, that, actually, because anyone who's coming into a driving simulator, should we say, 'cause this is much more of a simulator than a driving game, I would say, it's really good that they have the option to learn the trade, so to speak, and to have the ability to turn down the opposition cars or to turn up the assists that help them around the track, you know, because there's nothing worse than jumping into a game and having your soul destroyed by the difficulty straight off the bat. It's a really important feature.
And the driver aids are fantastic, aren't they?
Oh,
You
yeah.
You can come in with complete novice, never playing anything before, and the driver aids even steer and brake for you, basically, so you just have to hit the throttle. But then everything up to the point where you have to control every aspect of the car, and you don't have any like ABS or anything else to help you out, which is much more of a challenge. But it's got everything in between, which is just brilliant, really.
Yeah, and you can pick and choose as well, can't you? It's not a case that you just set the difficulty to easy, medium, hard.
Yeah.
You set whether you want these aids on, these aids off.
And you get bonus points for turning them off, don't you? So you can earn extra cash for new cars quicker. So it gives you an incentive to try and do it more difficult.
Yeah, the quicker you improve, the more credits you can earn, which means you can buy the sexier cars.
Absolutely. I mean, this was one of the advantages of Grid Autosport that John and I were obviously playing beforehand, is that, they had a similar setup with the options, whereby the more aids you turn off, the more of a bonus you get in the career mode for your sort of experience points. So I think generally it's a much better way of setting difficulty levels on games.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that we're drifting slightly away from just cars generally, but I think gaming is something that you're not going to have people who are just easy, medium, or hard. You're always going to have people that are in between those very simplistic sort of difficulty levels. So the more that game manufacturers can do that kind of thing, I think the better the gaming industry will be for it.
And actually, we kind of represent the three different types of gamer you might get, I think, on Forza 6, or three categories. There's probably more categories, but you've got Ben, who is quite new to it and is coming into it for almost the first time with the driving game. You've got Kingy, who sort of is more of is definitely a sports gamer, but is perhaps not as invested in racing games as say number 3 me and how I am, which is pretty hardcore Gran Turismo fan since I was probably about 10 years old. Whereas I used to spend hours driving all the endurance events and stuff and really learning the tracks. Kingy was more sort of, I think you were quite into your rally games, weren't you, King?
Yeah, way back in the day.
Yeah, probably more rally than...
Mobile One Rally on the PC was quite the game for me. I did enjoy that quite a bit. And also Tocker as well.
Oh, Tocker, yeah, that was a great game. But yeah, I mean, it allows Ben to have his driving options on if he needs them, just to help him, get by and learn the track a bit, and perhaps give him an edge on us to help him out a bit, because we've got that little bit more experience. Kingy, you can sort of jump into it like I did with the driver aids all turned off and stuff, and then do a pretty half decent job and still enjoy it. And I can sort of really just go full fat hardcore and see how I get on, really. And we had some really entertaining results. And we made a few videos as well. So keep an eye out on the Smooth Traffic account on Twitter and the Smooth Traffic YouTube account, because we're going to be releasing those videos over the next couple of weeks, I would say.
Yes,
something like that. Next couple of weeks or so, we'll be releasing some Forza 6 gameplay videos, and you can see for yourself how we got on.
Do you remember way back when electric cars first sort of appeared on the scene? A lot of people got upset by the fact that they were very, very quiet, and they were saying it was unfair on blind people because they couldn't hear the cars coming. Now, I noticed the other day a Tesla drove past me, because there's one that lives not too far away, and after I stopped dribbling, I realised that actually it made just as much noise on the road as any of the other cars that drove past me, because it was a fairly damp day. You hear the tyres on the tarmac and the sort of the rustling of the wheels turning and things like that. But when a petrol car drives past, or a diesel car these days, they're all so quiet, especially at low speeds. I'm talking sort of doing 20 mile an hour or something like that. Actually, you wouldn't notice it was electric at all, because the other cars are so silent. I just wondered if you'd noticed anything. Well, cars are just getting really quiet, I think, is probably where I'm going with this.
Cars are much quieter. I've definitely noticed, and actually I've noticed it today. I went out to Lidl's this morning to buy some lovely bread.
Other supermarkets are available.
No, they aren't. Basically, I was trying to leave the car park at quite a low speed, and I've got a BMW 3 Series, which is quite a quiet car, I would say. Kingy's driven it. He probably thinks it's quite quiet as well.
Yeah. And
I was sort of driving up behind people, and I was sort of waiting for them to move, because I assumed they'd be able to hear my car coming up behind them. I wasn't that close, but I thought they'd still be able to hear it. But they didn't hear me coming at all. Not at all. And that's happened a couple of times in the supermarket car park, in like the town centre when you drive through a busy street sometimes as well, and in villages too. And villages are a naturally quiet environment normally.
Yeah.
And I've definitely noticed that. Yeah, I've not really had I've had a couple of electric cars drive past me, or hybrid cars in full electric drive past me, and I wouldn't say they make a huge amount less noise than a petrol car. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the big differences with the Tesla is the size of the tyres, because I think they have quite large tyres, don't they?
Yeah, that's entirely
so
possible.
I think the tyre noise on the road would probably make a loud enough noise. But I suppose when you're designing for health and safety and regulations and stuff, you have to consider the most deaf people in society. I don't know. Maybe they do, but
I think the interesting point on that front, with sort of health and safety and regulations and whatnot, the European Parliament will require all electric cars to be fitted with a device that will make them sound similar to a combustion engine car from 2019, I think it is.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so essentially all electric and hybrid vehicles have to make a noise come 2000. I think it's 2019 or 2020, something like that.
And it has to sound like a combustion engine.
I think that was the original idea. But then this is where Ben's point is quite pertinent, really, in that combustion engines today, do they make that much noise? And strangely, earlier on today, I watched an old Top Gear episode where Clarkson was reviewing the Alfa 166, and he was saying that Audi drivers, BMW drivers, they all drive very quiet cars these days. And the beauty of driving something like an Alfa is that it sounds like an engine. Those noises, you just don't get them anymore, do you? Really? Cars are set up to be so quiet as to almost not inconvenience the driver with the sound of an engine over whatever dirge people are listening to on the radio these days.
Could they do a thing with cars like Tesla where you could download noises for your car to make? Because I've got a fantastic idea. What if, Ben, you're going to love this, Ben. Ben, I know you're going to love this. No, he's definitely going to love this. What if you could download the noise of a TIE fighter to your Tesla? So when it comes past, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
No.
No? I thought that was a really good idea. Because Renault in the Clio, this generation Clio, have an app where you can download, albeit it plays the sound internally, different engine noises to play in your Clio. So you can download the noise of a V6, or you can download the noise of a Formula 1 car or something. Yeah, you actually can do that. So
that's absolutely ridiculous.
I imagine they'll be able to do that with electric cars, but amplify the sound outside, in which case, TIE Fighter.
It is quite an easy thing to do, John. It's something that's been around for quite a while, because I remember watching an episode of the ever-popular TV show Pimp My Ride way back in the day. And I remember they'd kitted out some big SUV thing over in America, but they'd fitted a sound box to it, so the driver could literally change between the sounds of, I think they had a Ferrari, an Aston Martin, a couple of other sounds. But yeah, it was audible outside. It wasn't just in the cabin. It produced that noise, although it didn't have the engine to do it, because of these sort of boxes. So it's not something that's unheard of.
I mean, the good news is Smooth Traffic has solved this problem in the space of just a few minutes.
With a TIE Fighter.
Yeah. Downloadable exterior car noise. It's going to be the future, and you heard it here first on the smoothest automotive podcast out there.
I have seen some rather interesting Alfa news.
This needs a jingle.
It does need a jingle, but I don't have one. Alfa Romeo have conducted a study under the hashtag #FindYourPassion, designed to, and I quote, reflect its own passionate heritage and to help the British public put passion back into their lives.
I like where this is going.
So the result of this was that they ran a survey as to who was Britain's most passionate person.
Oh, okay.
And the winner was Sir David Attenborough.
What?
Well,
that's right. British people have voted Sir David Attenborough the most passionate Briton.
The most passionate Briton?
Yes. Currently living, I think, is the key to it.
Well, I would have said Russell Brand.
Perhaps this shows the difference between an Italian's definition of passion and a British person's definition of passion.
Absolutely.
I mean, other people in the top 10 include J.K. Rowling, Professor Brian Cox, Stephen Hawking, Mary Berry, Andy Murray.
Berry?
Yes,
so
Mary
this
Berry.
is passionate about what they do, then, isn't it? Really.
I think that's the way that we've taken it, but I don't know whether that was exactly what Alfa would have intended.
Mary Berry is just an incredibly lucky woman. She's not passionate. She's
How
just an
dare
incredibly lucky woman who's
How's she
just had
lucky?
a ginormous stroke of luck to get an exceptionally jammy gig towards the end of her days on the BBC,
You are
presenting a programme that is absolute shite.
First of all, I'd like to say that John doesn't reflect the views of all of the members of Smooth Traffic. I, for one, enjoy the Great British Bake Off.
Absolute
You know,
garbage.
there's lots of cakes for one thing, and I like cakes. But, I mean, how can you have beef with Mary Berry?
Because she's not interesting in any way. She's like Adele. Adele is not interesting in any way. Adele does not make good music. Adele makes boring, bland, Tory-pleasing music that is no good for anything. All it does is just bore the hell out of everyone. And for some reason, people just buy copy after copy after copy. Mary Berry is the Adele of baking. Completely bland. No personality. Dull. And she's incredibly lucky to find herself presenting, for some reason, the most popular show in England. It's a farce.
So anyway, Alfa Romeo, if you happen to listen to this, I'd like to put forward John Edge as the most passionate man in Britain. I've never heard anyone so passionately tear Mary Berry apart before. It's a disgrace, and I will not be speaking to him for some time.
I think a lot of this is going to get edited out.
No, this is all going straight in there, John.
Well,
People
good,
need to know
'cause
what
I-
you're like.
I dislike Mary Berry
It's
intensely.
impossible to dislike Mary Berry.
The survey also found that 91% of Britons want to be more passionate, but 46% claim to not have time to follow a passion or interest because of work commitments.
That's interesting.
So there we go.
46%.
Statistics.
I think if you're really passionate about something, you find the time to do it. And if you're not finding the time to do it, maybe you're not as passionate about it as you think.
Probably a valid point.
So there we go. That's what I think about it. But King, you're a passionate guy. Passionate about Alfa Romeo, in particular. Passionate about throwing yourself into challenges.
Absolutely.
Always leading by example. And
That's why I was captain of our five-a-side team.
Yes, you were.
And I wasn't the one turning up in an Audi TT by himself.
But just this weekend gone, when we went to go and see Benny Pierce, the best member of Smooth Traffic, you undertook the challenge to climb into the boot of your Alfa Romeo MiTo.
I did.
And the video's on YouTube if you want to go and see it. We have been tweeting the link to that multiple times. Go and have a look, it's really good fun. So how was your experience in the back of the Alfa Romeo MiTo, King? Was there enough room in there for you?
Yes, there was. It was surprisingly spacious.
But it wasn't good to get into, was it?
It was fine to get into.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
It wasn't though, was it?
It was. I will concede that the boot lip is too high, but that's something that I think anyone will agree with, whether they've driven a MiTo or just looked inside the back of one.
Yes.
The boot lip is ridiculously high, but that didn't stop me from getting in.
No.
It wasn't the most ladylike of entrances into the vehicle.
That's probably a
But
good
then
thing.
I'm not a very ladylike man, so it was fine. All in all, easy to get into, easy to get out of, and the key thing with any Italian car is you need to be able to get a body in the boot.
Ben, are you buying any of this? Because, I mean, I'm just wondering, Ben, as someone who's been in the MiTo, a fair few times like myself, would you agree with me when I say the MiTo is completely impractical?
Yep, completely.
Completely impractical. What the Rob King getting in the boot of the MiTo challenge showed was that boot lips can only go so high before it becomes very, very difficult to use a boot properly.
But it's not about being a practical car, John.
It's a hatchback. It has to be practical.
I can get into the driver's seat, I can get into the boot. What more practicality do I require? None.
I mean, you need more space in the rear. You probably need 5 doors, really. I don't think there's many 3-door cars left around now, really. A lot of manufacturers are offering 5 doors now. That boot lip is about a foot high. About a foot high, and that is unbelievable. I mean, as a designer...
You don't buy an Alfa for convenience, John.
Well, you need to buy an Alfa for convenience in the future, otherwise Alfa are going to go bust, aren't they? So, it's something they really need to look at. I can't understand how a designer, especially a car designer, who has to make things functional, looked at a foot-high boot lip and thought, yeah, that's good. That'll do. That'll help. People can get their suitcases in and out of that easily when they're going on holiday, because they bloody wouldn't be able to. Absolutely not. If you had a really, really heavy suitcase you were about to fly out somewhere in, you wouldn't be getting it in or out of an Alfa Romeo MiTo.
Why are you flying in the suitcase?
Well, that's the end of the first ever double figures episode of Smooth Traffic. How exciting. There should in theory be about 90 more of these. If, of course, you're going to listen again after I've completely destroyed Mary Berry. Chaps, are you going to come back, actually?
Maybe.
Doubtful.
Oh, we'll see. At this point, I have to tell you to tweet us at Smooth Traffic. For me, at the Johnny Edge, at the Face of Ben for Ben, and at Robert King ESQ for the weirdest member of Smooth Traffic. We'll catch you next time for episode 11. Bye-bye.